Princess Kira stood at the observation deck of the grand starship Harmony, watching the blue-green planet Earth grow larger through the reinforced glass. Her silver hair cascaded down her shoulders, and her violet eyes reflected the swirling clouds of the human homeworld. After 5 years of brutal war between the Valyrian Empire and the Terran Federation, peace talks were finally beginning. The war had cost millions of lives on both sides. The humans, despite being technologically inferior, had proven themselves to be fierce warriors. Their adaptability and determination had impressed even the most seasoned Valyrian generals. What started as what her father's council believed would be a swift conquest had turned into a grinding conflict that neither side could afford to continue. "Your Highness," came a voice behind her. Admiral Thane, her military escort, approached with measured steps. "A human delegation has arrived. A ceremony will begin shortly." Kira nodded, smoothing her formal robes. As the crown princess and chief diplomat, she carried the weight of her entire civilization's future. The peace treaty would determine whether the two species could coexist or if the galaxy would be torn apart by endless warfare. The ceremony hall was magnificent, decorated with both Valyrian crystal formations and human floral arrangements. Representatives from dozens of worlds had gathered to witness this historic moment. At the center of the room stood a human figure that made Kira's breath catch in her throat. The war hero was tall and broad-shouldered, his dark hair slightly graying at the temples despite his relatively young age. Scars marked his hands and face, testament to countless battles. But it was his eyes that made her heart skip, those same warm brown eyes she remembered from her childhood. "Ladies and gentlemen," the human ambassador announced, "I present Commander Jake Thompson, hero of the Battle of Proxima Station, defender of the outer colonies, and architect of the Terran resistance." Kira's composure nearly shattered. Jake, little Jake from the embassy gardens, the human boy who had been her closest friend during her father's diplomatic mission to Earth 20 years ago. As the formal presentations continued, memories flooded back. She remembered a gangly 12-year-old boy teaching her to climb trees in the embassy courtyard. She remembered sharing human candy while he tried to learn her language. She remembered crying when her father's mission ended and they had to return to Valeria. "I promised I'd see you again," he had whispered during their goodbye. "No matter what happens, I'll find you." Now here he stood, no longer the gentle boy she remembered, but a hardened warrior who had fought against her own people. The irony was crushing. During the formal dinner, Kira found herself seated across from Jake. Their eyes met briefly, and she saw recognition flash across his features. He knew. Despite 20 years and the gulf of war between them, he remembered. "Her too, Princess Kira," he said formally, raising his glass. "To peace between our peoples." "To peace, Commander Thompson," she replied, her voice barely steady. Later, as the other delegates mingled, Jake approached her on the observation deck where she had retreated. They stood in silence for long moments, watching the stars. "I kept my promise," he said quietly, "though not in the way either of us expected." "You became a soldier," she observed, noting the weight he carried, the careful way he moved. "Your people invaded my home," he replied without accusation. "I did what I had to do." Kira closed her eyes. "The war should never have happened. My father's advisors believed humans were primitive, that you would surrender quickly. They were wrong." "We're survivors," Jake said. "It's what we do." "Is that why you fought so hard? Human nature?" Jake turned to face her fully. "I fought because I remembered what your people could be. I remembered a little alien girl who shared her lunch with a lonely embassy kid. I remembered kindness where others saw only enemies." Tears gathered in Kira's violet eyes. "I gave the order to retreat from the Centauri system. My father was furious, but I couldn't bear the thought that you might be there, that you might be hurt because of my people's ambition. You saved thousands of lives, Jake said softly. Human and Valyrian. I should have done more. I should have stopped the war before it started. You were a princess, not an empress. You did what you could. They stood together and comfortable. Silence. Two childhood friends separated by war, but united by shared hope for peace. What happens now? Kira asked. Now we prove that friendship can be stronger than fear, Jake replied. We show both our peoples that peace is possible. Will you help me? Like you did when we were children? Jake smiled, and for a moment, Kira saw the boy she had known. Always, that's what friends do. As the treaty was signed the next day, both leaders spoke of new beginnings and mutual respect. But Kira and Jake knew the truth. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from conquest, but from the courage to remember what makes us human, regardless of which world we call home. The war was over. The real work of peace could finally begin.